Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. I intended to be on here about a half hour ago, but I was kind of still over on Tarot Dog doing the same thing over there. Just so you guys know, once a week, my intention every week from now until January is I'll go live once a week for 30 minutes. I will keep it after this. I'll keep it to 30 minutes on each channel. I won't let it go over just because otherwise I don't get a chance to be fair with both channels. But I'm going to do some fictional storytelling for subscribers and members once a week on each channel, just to say thank you and to kind of celebrate the holiday season a little bit. So anyway, you guys, so great to see you all. Thank you, everybody. So as I begin, I have to do a little carryover. So 11D8 and Mosen, I'm going to get you both right now first, and then we will get into this. I also do like to give a little special, like 6 or 7 minutes where I focus on members and then everybody else as well. Okay. So I get a chance to kind of acknowledge and thank you guys. So we're going to do it like that each time. First off, 11D8, we have got the world, and 11D8, thank you so much for your incredible just intellect and fun and joy and all of the generosity. Thank you so much, sweetheart. We've got this world card, which is Capricorn. We've got the Knight of Cups, and we got the Hermit. Virgo energy coming in. Gotta say, we have somebody who almost feels a little bit like both reluctant to give love a whirl, because it's like we may have somebody who almost decided, I think I'm done with this. I don't think I need to do this anymore. I'm past the point of caring about that. I care about other things. I want to go explore. I want to do other things. The thing is, look, sometimes we say that we don't really care about the love stories, but love still cares about us. And that's what it looks like. We've got some cowboy. Sorry, I'm hearing that song. I want to be a cowboy, and you can be my cowgirl. Is it riding on my range? I got my boots dusty. Is that Boys Don't Cry? Anyway, the song's in my head. And we certainly have, even if she says, I'm not interested, all I can say is that somebody has her on their mind. And I have a hard time believing that, because nothing stays stagnant or stable in life, right? Stability on planet Earth just means a constant flux. So I can't help but say she may change her mind yet, because we got somebody who I think is going to be coming back around in her life, even if she's like disinterested, not catching their eye, even though they're trying to catch hers. And I feel like they're not going to be able to get her out of their head. Maybe she's not going to be able to get them out of her head. I don't see her as out seeking anything. I see her saying, I'm not interested. I gave up on that some time ago. All I can say is never say never. Look, our characters always have the choice. They don't have to say yes. But in this story, our character is going to be sought after. And it's because they're wonderful. And I kind of like, I don't know, there's something about this kind of lighthearted and kind of sweet. So anyway, that's how I see it. Next up, Mosen, thank you so much, sweetheart. I'm sorry I had to carry you over to this channel simply because I was out of time on the other one, and I had closed down the chat, but I didn't want to miss a chance to say thank you to you, sweetheart. So we have got the Temperance, we've got the Six of Cups, and we got the Knight of Cups upright. That Temperance card says we have a real sense of peace coming in, especially between soulmates. What I like is that first we're making peace, then we're sharing like-minded energy, and then we can talk about romance. This really looks like the best way to handle things. Can we first agree on like energy flow? Can we first come to a place of peace? Can we then also work together? Can we talk about, what the connection means? And then can we get into love and emotions? And I just feel like this is going to be the beginnings of a much more stable long-term relationship, or the way to salvage a connection and bring it back to something that can be really successful. If this is two people coming back into harmony, this time it looks like it could work really, really well, because they're doing it in like this really intentional way, instead of saying, let's rush in for emotion without first forming some like ground rules and some stabilizing features that, that we feel safe in each other's company and trusting. So I really like seeing that arrangement because it looks like it's going to be so much better. 78, you angel. Thank you, babe. All right, you guys, I'm going to make it a little priority right now for members for the next 6 or 7 minutes, and then it'll be open to, and I'll just go at random for anybody, any subscriber out there, okay? This is just to give a chance to say thank you and acknowledge you guys. Brian, great to see you, hon. Let me grab you a couple here. We have got an 8 of Swords, a Page of Swords, and the 10 of Swords in the reverse. This feels like two people are still thinking very much about something that wasn't handled the way either one of them would have ideally handled stuff. Now, we may have a masculine who particularly got a couple swords in his back, and this could be a feminine who remembers, like, I'm realizing maybe I'm the one who put those swords there. Over time, when we mature, I think that the more mature we are, the more we can think back and say, wow, there were some things I would do different. There were some things that I regret. There were things that I understand at a whole different level now. Some things that if I caused another person grief, this is starting to really stick with me. I'm thinking about it more, not less, as time goes on. And I would just say that that's testament to like somebody who's maturing, growing up a bit. Even though it doesn't say that we have any like healing or reconciliation yet, it's just the acknowledgement that I'm getting it. She's the one doing the thinking about this. And he's the one with the sword still in his back. And she's the one who's thinking back to this time. I would say it's like somebody's conscience is kicked into high gear and they're seeing it differently than what they did before. I really think this is testament to the fact that, I don't know, I could see him getting an apology at some point in time pretty soon. Because even the look on her face is like, oh my God, wait a minute. As I look back at this, I'm reflecting. As I look back at this, I'm seeing I might have caused somebody grief. And that doesn't feel good to know that I'm the one who did that. I would not be at all surprised if there's not an apology on the horizon. It may still take more time because that person is still just operating as a page. But pages are our messengers. So there could be an apology coming in. But right now they're just like gathering information, having it sink in. Like, yikes, I think I caused pain. And I don't think I fixed that. It definitely feels like somebody whose conscience is like speaking loudly to them at this point. So hopefully they grow out of this. My soul shine. Hey, babe. Here we go. We have got the Strength card upright. Very powerful for the Leo energy. Knight of Swords. Let me get one more. If somebody has a really strong desire to rush forward, the only thing that confuses me, and always does on this card, is that he wants to rush forward but then not say anything. And normally it's this like impulsive blurt, and this person is like, I have to control my impulse to blurt out, I love you. I think you're the other half of my soul. I want to pour my brain into you, and I want you to hold my heart in my chest. Like that might be what this person's feeling, and they're fighting saying it. This could be, oh God, what's the song? I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. It does feel like we have a divine masculine who's either awakening to something, and he's like, I have to like hold myself back from just jumping up and screaming like I figured this out. Or this is somebody who's falling deeply in love and they're trying really hard not to say the L word, It is holding back on purpose. Not to be mean or anything, but just because I don't want to blurt this out. This is too important. Also, if I blurt something out, it may not describe the level of, connection that I feel for another person. And that might explain why somebody takes more time to say I love you, even if they are in love, because it's like, this is too important. It's even too big for words. I don't know the right words. But all of this is like, I feel this tension, like my muscles are tightening up for this person because they're working so hard to like hold back the way they feel simply so they don't blurt it out and have it come out wrong. I kind of think this is somebody doing their best to make sure that this matters and that they handle it like it matters. Next up, Natalie. Hi, sweetie. Let me grab you one. Okay. I was kind of going for 3. We got 4. We got to keep it. We have an 8 of Swords sideways. We have the 8 of Cups in the reverse. We got a Return. We got the Lovers, Gemini, and we got the Death card, Scorpio. Okay. By the end of this year, it says we have big changes. We have a character changing everything. This could be a Gemini, divine masculine, or a Scorpio. This could be somebody who wants to talk. This could be somebody who's expressing themselves in a new and different way. Definitely their pheromones are like off the charts, or they're sensing somebody else's pheromones, but this is somebody returning. Somebody who doesn't want to cut ties. This is somebody who hasn't been able to cut ties. And maybe that's the thing that's changed. It's like the idea of either never talking to someone again. That doesn't work for me. In fact, the reality of like, wait a second, is this how it ends? I'm supposed to walk away and leave this alone? Yeah, I can't do that. That's not gonna work. This person was stuck for a period of time, trying to imagine that they were supposed to let something go. And I think, when we really, anything in our life, because sometimes we make those choices in our life and then that's it, we did make a decision that we're never going to go back to that time and place and have a second shot. We may never be in that. Let's say we're traveling and it's like, I'll use me as an example. In Naples one time at a train station, there was this one purse I really wanted. I still remember it because it was mustard yellow with this big red image on it, and it was just beautiful. And I didn't buy it. And it wasn't even expensive, but I was like, what do you need to buy a purse for? And you'll find so many other beautiful things that I'd never been to Naples. Well, I've never seen another one like it. And I kicked myself because I won't ever get that chance again. And that's just for a stupid person. I still remember it from 20 years later, right? But what about those moments where it's about a relationship? And I think this is a person who thankfully has actually been stuck on this concept that, wait a minute, maybe it's not easy to get back to Naples and go to the train station and find that purse, but with a relationship with a human being that I care about, why would I ever act like I can walk away from something and, oh, well, I guess it's too late? No, I'm on this earth, they're on this earth, I'm coming back. Like, that's what it looks like. Somebody got like real about the regret and said, I can't let this be a regret. That's ridiculous. They did sit on this for a while, so this could be somebody coming back after a period of time, but to their credit, they considered that doesn't work. I can't let something go that matters that much. And I'm glad to see that they actually, had that perspective. I can't let it go. That's really good to see. Danae Mountain Dreamer. Hi, babe. Let me get you one, hun. All right, here we go. Danae Mountain Dreamer. We have got the 6 of Swords upright. We've got the Wheel of Fortune upright. We got the 6 of Wands. And we have the Ace of Swords. This is more like hop in my little sidecar and let's you and me together escape the madness of this environment or this world. Can we just go someplace and can we just be successful? This feels like, oh God, is it Getaway Car by Taylor Swift? Granted, in that song, I think the end of it is they don't stay together. But in this story, it looks like they stay together. In this story, it looks like two people realize, I'd rather leave this party with you. Can you get me out of here? This could be a romance that starts after the Christmas holiday party or something. And it's just like, honestly, really, you're my favorite person in this room right now. You're the person I'd most want to spend more time with. Can I just go and be with you? And it's kind of like the divine timing kicks in, and it seems like it's the right time for two people. They may find that they're either unlikely allies or that they are on the same side of some particular issue or something. And it's like, wow, I never knew you thought that way also. That brings us closer in a bond that in a moment of either conflict or distress or something like that, two people actually bond at a greater degree. And I think these two people actually are like aware that, oh my God, out of conflict, this was supposed to happen because this is how I met you and learned something about you. And this is kind of what we've bonded over. And it feels really good to meet somebody who I can really identify with. This is like a meeting of the minds, but it feels like it's either a romance or maybe it's just a strong friendship. But it's like, wow, I had no idea that person of all people would have my back. I had no idea that person would be the one that I would connect to. And it just feels like two people are on the same page where it's like, this is really nice. I bonded to somebody that I'm vibing with right now. So it's great to see that for a change. All right, let me just scroll through here. Hang on just a second. Rossy, thank you, Angel. Let me grab you one, sweetheart. Rossy, here we go. We have got a Page of Swords, a Ten of Wands, and the Justice card. Somebody has realized that something didn't work out too good. It feels like I've been either gathering information, paying attention to this, and I am either realizing, God, I'm so glad I'm not with that person. Whew, what a relief, dodged a bullet with that one. Or I'm thinking back to the way somebody behaved, and it's like, wow, that did not make me happy at all, and I'm so glad I'm not in that anymore. This is a sense of relief, not because everything is perfect. And for me, when a Justice card comes up, upright, it says something is still very out of balance. But we have somebody who's actually saying, yeah, that's why I'm glad I'm not dealing with it, because it doesn't feel good to have been in that. And I'm just realizing it. I'm paying attention. I'm seeing those small symbols, or I'm thinking back and gathering information and realizing this almost feels like somebody feels better after a breakup. You know what? When I think back, it was really unpleasant, and I'm actually happier now. I think back and I go, I didn't feel good in that. I feel better now that it's over. This could be about almost anything. It doesn't have to be a breakup, though. It could be, I'm so glad I'm not at the book club anymore, because God, every week it was stressing me out in a big way. Like sometimes we don't realize that we don't enjoy something until we stop doing it. And then it's like, oh, so glad I don't have to do that anymore. And it was like, well, why didn't you quit the, extracurricular activity? And it's like, well, I didn't think I could. I didn't realize how much I hated it until I stopped doing it. There have been a lot of things like that in my life. Like, I will not house sit for people. I hate it. It stresses me out to the max. And I've had people ask me, and after I realized I freaking hate it, I was like, nope. I won't do it for anybody. Nope, I love you. I won't do it for family. I won't do it for anybody. It is not worth the amount of stress I have that I'm going to accidentally burn down your house and everything in it. I can't deal with your stresses of your stuff, because I care more about your stuff than I do about mine. And I can't do it. And it's like, oh, thank God I just say no now. And I feel like that could be an example of how this person's like, no, I'm not doing things that make me stressy anymore. I feel so much happier being able to see what made me stressy and saying never again. So that's the way I would interpret that, as a non-romantic potential there. So yeah. Black Butterfly 25. Hey, baby. Let me grab you one. We've got a Two of Wands. We have a Page of Wands. So obviously lots of wand energy. So we do have inspiration. We may have a spark of attraction, but we have a character trying to decide which route to take. And I think that their answer is the route that I'm more interested in. If a character is saying, ooh, I really want to go and take a half a day off and go do something that is an important hobby of mine, or I could work overtime, I think this is a character saying, in the big scheme of my life, will that overtime change the outcome of my life, or would I actually create memories that last for the rest of my life if I take, this time and allow myself to do something that is purely for me? And I kind of think this is a character saying, look, I'm good at balance, but I also have to allow myself to look at the bigger picture. What will make the biggest impact for the long term in my life? I mean, there are times where obviously if we got to pay our rent, we got to work those hours, right? But if it's like, well, I made my rent, I'd be losing a little chunk of money. But on the other hand, the happiness quota that I would get from doing something else instead of working those overtime hours for just one day would be so much worthwhile for me. It just feels like a character who's making a choice for their passion and their quality of life over an immediate and maybe lesser joy. If this has to do with, I mean, we all work. There's always going to be work that we got to do. But I think this is a character saying, but my happiness is important as well. It just keeps feeling like somebody has to pick between just a moment, even if it's just 2 hours of career work or passion work. And I think that they're going for the passion work once they've weighed the pros and cons of like, how much will it cost me if I don't do the work? If I don't get paid for this, but I can use those 2 hours and do something that I love, which will impact my life the greatest and the best in the long term. So it's a character making a decision, making a call on what they want to do, but it's definitely based off of long term, which is going to make me so much happier. That's what it seems like the character is trying to figure out. Next up, hi Marisa. Thanks for being here, babe. Let me grab you one. We have got a 10 of Wands in the reverse. We have a High Priestess in the reverse. It feels like we have a High Priestess that is aware that either a masculine is like showing signs of like total relaxation, seeing them like completely like peaceful and okay, I'm not going to stress out anymore. It feels like either a High Priestess has been instrumental in helping to get somebody to like let go of burdens. I guess I could read it in the reverse, where it's a High Priestess who is acknowledging like, oh my God, this masculine's been under tremendous pressure. And I can see it. They wear it like, they got this thick aura of like drama around them, guilt around them. Either it's one or the other. Oftentimes I look at that 10 of Wands and if we're in the reverse, it's somebody who hasn't laid down the obstacles yet. They haven't laid down the drama. The High Priestess in the reverse for me is always, I can see it now. It's no longer hidden. It's as clear as the nose on your face. It's definitely a High Priestess recognizing something about, we'll say a masculine, even though it doesn't have to be just who we see on the card. But it's like, oh my God, his burdens were massive and he's either laying them down or his burdens are still massive. And that's what he's carrying around. This is somebody who appears to be quite beat down. And at first glance, you wouldn't notice. In fact, probably nobody else notices except a High Priestess, because she's seeing his energy. She's seeing his aura. She's seeing, and it could be a combination of body language combined with just a look in somebody's eyes combined with like, look, High Priestesses can hear the words that aren't said. They hear what is said in the silence when there's no words at all. She's understanding the fundamental aspect of somebody and the fact that they're in like a really big chapter of their life for either releasing something or having carried something for far, far, far too long. But she's seeing somebody's scars, their wounds, and it's very visible to her, which is kind of a remarkable gift to have. That's for sure. Steph Love, hey, here we go. We've got a King of Pentacles and we've got the Eight of Cups in the reverse. That King of Pentacles upright says he's been working hard. He's been chiseling, stone ponies out of rock, and he's on his way back. We have that Eight of Cups in the reverse. This could be a Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus. This could be a masculine, could of course still be a feminine, but it's somebody who's been doing the work to create stability in themselves, in their life, in their perception, so that they can actually return and offer something of great value. That Eight of Cups in the reverse is, unless he's not coming back to someone, but instead he's developing something so he can come back around to a place where he used to be, a place of greater confidence. We could just say this is one person's personal journey, but this is definitely somebody coming back full circle. And I would just say with confidence to do something that he wanted to do before but didn't have the confidence to do, because he's returning to a point of origin again. Even here, the pony is chiseled out of stone. This is something he never wanted to move on from, but maybe didn't have the courage to like stay, but he was always going to come back to this, if that makes sense. Sometimes we're not ready for something that we want, but we never forget that's what we want. And even if it's many, many years, we still come back around for it. So Lola May, hi honey. Let me grab you one on Lola May. We have got the Seven of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and the Lovers in the reverse. Seven of Pentacles is about, her mind has been turning for some time, but we're ready for the harvest. This is her saying, I've reached this point where I've thought myself in circles, but in truth, I've always had the intuition to know, in this case, I don't think I wanted that particular romance. We never really got the comfort zone. We always still had masks on. Maybe I never felt I could be that comfortable with that person, not deep down, not at that intuitive level. There's even in romance or passion, like we can have passion with someone, but it's like, but there's still something that isn't there. There's still like a depth of connection that is just, we're not on the same frequency. And I think she wondered for a long time, like, what was it? And I think over time she's come to the conclusion what was missing is we both still had a mask on. We never got to that point of truly like being vulnerable at some more profound level. And I think she kind of knew this for a long time, but now it's front and center in her mind. It's like, okay, I see it. I get it. I know it. And it's actually a big relief because this is where it's a harvest. It's like, oh, that's why it didn't work out. We never really, either they never really vibed or they never felt safe enough or comfortable enough to take off their masks. I mean, that can change. If two people weren't ready to do that before because of, just comfort zone or maturity level or something, we change over time. It could be that's why it didn't work before. That's why we didn't really feel like we were the right couple at the time. That can change. But I think for right now, the sense of peace is, of course, it didn't work. We never really got into that safety zone where we could take off our masks and really vibe and really connect at that deeper level. But maybe they were never on the same frequency. All I can say is that this is a positive card. It's like, oh, thank goodness. I don't have to worry about anything. There was no mistakes. There was no fumbles. It was just that we weren't really on the same frequency. No hard feelings, no villains, just it wasn't really right. And I love seeing that because it takes all the hurt and pain out of a situation. So it's not, a situation where, a character has to fret about anything. It's nice to see when things aren't too stressful after all. Rosebud, you sweetheart. Thank you so much. Rosebud, here we go. We have got a page of coins moving to the Knight of Coins. And I only read this deck in the upright because there's two meanings on each. A Four of Cups going to the Five of Cups. Hang on. I have to get one more for my sake. That page of coins going to the Knight of Coins is the energy of like, okay, I wanted to talk about something and then I wanted to take action, but I've been mulling over it, thinking over it, because I regret something that I didn't say. And what I didn't say, I'm not sure if it would have changed a disappointment. I'm not sure if it would bring us back together, but I'm just not sure that I expressed myself well enough because I regret that maybe I didn't say, Eight of Cups to the Nine of Cups. I don't know that saying this would change anything because it looks like we have a feminine who's like, maybe... I'm not saying she would reach out and be like, okay, so I just want to tell you I'm so much happier without you. I don't think that's what it is. I'm just saying that she's kind of reflecting and saying, what I realize is that if I had right out of the gate either kept my boundaries or told someone what my personal thoughts or opinions were about a particular subject, in truth, we might not ever have like tried to be too close of friends and then or romantic partners because maybe in truth I wasn't really wanting to be with somebody who has that vibe. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but maybe honestly I wasn't ready for a partnership, or maybe the two of us wouldn't have actually tried to interact because it would have been obvious that we don't really share the same vision. I know this is just somebody who's way happier right now doing her own thing. And I'm wondering if either she's realizing, I think I didn't want to be in a relationship. Like sometimes we gently sabotage things just a little bit because in truth, we're not looking for long term at that moment in time. And this could be a feminine who's just realizing that and admitting it to herself. I don't think she's going to call them up and say it. I just think there really isn't a reason to feel a sorrow or a regret over it because she's actually really happy. But if anything, it's like, hey, if I had considered this at the beginning, probably we would have taken this middle step out of it. It would have been like, hey, no strings attached fun would be great, but I'm really not looking for a long term. And I don't want to have regrets like, oh man, this relationship didn't work out. It's like, but honestly, that's not what this was for. Not every relationship or engagement that we have with another person is like, I must find the one and we must be striving for, let's stay together forever. Sometimes we experience people because we enjoy their company. Sometimes we experience passion with them, but that's okay to have it be that and enjoy them and not have to feel sad about it that it didn't last because maybe it was never intended to. And I think it's just that concept, like, you know what, if I was really straightforward, I never intended it to last. It was enjoyable, but I'm actually very happy with exactly how things have gone. And I just feel like that sense of relief for our character. It's like, wow, if I could have just told myself that right at the beginning, I never would have even had any regrets over this because there isn't anything to regret. It turned out just great. So actually really sweet. Rachel, thank you so much. I can't promise what will come out, sweetheart, though. Just know I'm a fictional storyteller. I don't decide what cards will come out or anything. So I always tell people don't ever suggest what you want because I won't give you what you want because I can't do that. It's all fiction and it's whatever comes out. So please know if it is not inspirational, there's nothing, I don't make those promises. Okay. So just bear that in mind. This is fictional. Any way we slice it, it will not tell you how your life will go. Only you will decide that. So please bear that in mind. Okay. But we have a high priestess, which is kind of an awesome card. We have a Knight of Pentacles. We have the Hanged Man. This looks like a high priestess is either finding some kind of real sense of peace and meaning in maybe things that she's reading right now, things that she's digesting. She could be spending some time meditating. She could be reading, anything from a self-help book to, fantasy fiction, doesn't matter. We can get inspiration from many, many things, but we can see that she's obviously, like, maybe she's reading from, her own book of life, an Akashic Records type of thing. But she's kind of recognizing that in the big scheme of things, because both of these cards now speak of time. In the big scheme of things, number one, we're alive for a really long time. Our book of life is long, and she's opened this book up somewhere in the middle. So we definitely are nowhere close to the ending of a story, not in her life and not in this person's life. In fact, if anything, we're still just rocking a knight's energy. So we're not even to the kings, the queens, and the emperors and the empresses yet. We could look at this as frustrating and say, well, how come it doesn't hurry up? And it's like, but there is no rush because our book of life is long and things don't necessarily happen on the time scale that we'd like them to. Particularly, other people don't necessarily do things on the time scale that we wish they would. And that can be super frustrating. Patience is my least acclimated skill. That is not something that I am good at. So I could totally understand that a high priestess might be saying, what I intuitively am realizing is that, particularly when it comes to divine timing or it comes to our book of life, what is slow for one person can feel fast for another, and vice versa. We don't necessarily, just like characters don't, real people that we meet in day-to-day life do not speak at the same cadence or tempo. If you talk to, we'll say, like, I have a friend who's got a Southern drawl, and they roll their words out just a little longer than maybe I roll mine out. And it's like music to listen to. And it's so soothing. And it's not that they don't, speak maybe as many words per moment that I do, but I would say that they probably don't. And I think that it's so soothing. Like, I wish I was more like them, because it gives you time to process. Like, if you were taking slow bites of something yummy and you really get to taste the flavors, that's how it is when you listen to somebody who's maybe talking at a different tempo than you are. And there can be a beauty in that and a gift in that. And if we look at someone's behavior as that, instead of like, how come they're not moving faster? And then we remember, yeah, but we got plenty of time. And perhaps there's something beautiful in taking the time and savoring this. Perhaps that's what they're doing. Not everybody who's moving slow is like lost or unsure about what their next move is. Sometimes they're developing. Sometimes it's because something matters so much to them that they take more time. Just like if we're going to say something that's really meaningful, we might take a long time to find our words. So instead of her feeling like either disappointed or insulted that someone's taking a while, this could say, maybe they're savoring it. Maybe they're taking time because something matters a great deal. And again, maybe it's not about our concept of time, but rather each person has a different concept of time. And they can only formulate their ideas, their thoughts, and their actions at the tempo that works for them. But there might be something beautiful in that. I know there's a sense of reassurance that there's plenty of time for this storyline to still unfold because it has not finished unfolding. She's only in the middle of this book. So there's more to come for sure. But I do like the concept of the patience in that, even though, patience is really tough. And I completely understand the frustration. um, You guys, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to be bouncing out of here in just a minute. Selonyade, thank you, Angel. Let me grab you one, and then I'm going to end with Luminous Marina after this, okay, guys? So I'll be doing this once a week on each channel. So just know if I didn't get to you tonight, we'll be doing this all the way up until January, okay? So every week you'll get some little opportunity. It'll be different days, different times. This happens to be a really late night because that's when I could squeeze it in. But just so you guys know, Rosebud, it was my pleasure, babe. Selene, let's grab you one, and then we'll end with Luminous Marina, okay? Here we go. All right, so Selene, we have got, first off, Aries is here. So we have Aries off to the left, or excuse me, off to my right. And we have the High Priest, which in this deck would be the Hierophant. In the other deck, it's card 5. We've got the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. I got to grab another one because I always look at that as a timeline jump. And at this point, because we have that High Priest sideways with the two coins, or not coins, excuse me, keys, and one is the sun and one is the moon, it feels like either someone is like unlocking another person's energy flow at the same time, or realizing, wow, I've been really impacted by somebody, because this is like the complementary energies of the universe, right? The sun and the moon is like the masculine and the feminine energies complementing each other. With that Page of Cups upright here, there's an apology coming in. I feel like we could have possibly a masculine Taurus who is either thinking in their own head, but at the same time, maybe this feminine water sign is thinking the exact same thing. I want to say sorry. I want to receive and give an emotional offer. This is changing. This was not possible before. Maybe it's because our characters have crown chakras opening up, but it feels like now is the time. Maybe there's a flood of emotions. I mean, this has been a super moon that we've just gone through, which could indicate like a much bigger pull from our subconscious. Sometimes smaller things matter less, and what matters the most all of a sudden is that we really truly like listen to our subconscious. And it's like, you know what, the fluff doesn't matter. What matters is this person has a bigger impact on me than almost anybody I know, and truthfully, they've unlocked my ability to give and receive forgiveness more so than anybody. So whatever comes next, I don't know, but it's worth it to change the way I would do things with anybody else on the earth, because this person doesn't make me feel like anybody else on the earth. This is different. This is stronger. There's something about, like, you know, we behave different when somebody impacts us differently. And I think it's testament to how important this situation might be. This could be a friend. This could be, you know, like, look, I don't crawl for just anybody either, but the people that they matter the most to me, I give a lot of forgiveness for, and I, you know, beg forgiveness too when I need to. You know, we don't do that for maybe just anybody, because not everything matters that much. Some things are like, you know what, whatever. That was too much drama anyway. It didn't end the greatest, but let it go. Other people, it's like, no, this one matters too much. And I would say that's the best way I could say this, is like the ones that really like make us open up more. that's really special. And I would just say not everybody maybe has that kind of access into our heart or our spirit, but this speaks of a relationship that does. Whether it's a romance or non-romantic doesn't matter. It's something very profound to make a character change so much and be open to like changing the way they're doing things and what concessions they would give another person. So that's pretty important. All right, and Luminous Marina, thank you so much, babe. Here we go. Rachel, it was my pleasure, sweetie. All right, Luminous Marina, we have got the Temperance card. We have the Wild card, which means we've got to get another card on this. By the way, guys, just so you know, I'm rounding this out now. I'm not going to do any more after this, but we will do this every week, okay, for about a half hour on both channels. We have the Emperor. Holy smokes. So I would say we're rocking 3 major arcana, but it's better than that. We got 2 major arcana and then like a super major because card 22 doesn't exist. This is just an extra card, and it's a wild card. It's about loyalty, and it's about a brand new opportunity for something very serious, very long term. We have possibly a divine feminine who's reached a point where they have like full enlightenment. There is something where they just clicked in, dialed in. I feel like this character might feel different about herself, about her life. There may be some weird sense of like, I don't know what it is, but even if my life is still busy and the world is chaos, I have some weird sense of personal, like, I'll say, like conviction that I am right where I'm supposed to be. This is my time to be alive. This is my space to be in. I am literally where I am supposed to be, which is to be alive in this era. Many things in our life change, but it's like, this is the correct journey for me. Things could still even be in a state of flux, but it doesn't matter. She has peace within herself, no matter what is fluxing around her. That's a really amazing place to be in, and a really powerful place to be, when it's like, all of this makes sense to me, no matter how messy it gets, no matter how much wind, blows my way. I still know this is my story. I'm supposed to be living this life. And I think that sense of like peace and conviction, maybe we could say that she's very zen, maybe we could say that she's fully like awakened. But it's wild because as much as she's like, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. This is the life I'm supposed to be living. I'm living my truth. No matter what comes next, I absolutely know it'll be what's on my path. It's so crazy because what she couldn't expect is that what comes next is something so fantastic. I think it's because it's reflecting who she is. She would be willing to take whatever wild whatever comes next and be unafraid. And yet the shocker is, darling, it's not something traumatizing and upsetting that's coming in. It's actually something that mirrors her energy, which is maturity, stability, a sense of peaceful strength and calm and conviction that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is somebody who doesn't run. This is somebody who's not afraid of life. This is somebody who feels just as much certainty that I'll know what I need to do when I see it. I live my truth. I'm not somebody full of fears. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I know who I am and what I am without becoming so hyper-focused on myself either. I don't have to talk about me. I know me. I can just live. I can be. The act of me living my life is me showing what I am and who I am. I don't need to sit around and talk about it too much because you'll see it if you're around me. I just feel like this is somebody who's so like authentic, and that's exactly who she is. But what's so wild is she's expecting like, oh, life could get real bumpy, but you know what? I trust that it'll probably be the bumps I'm supposed to endure. She doesn't know that what comes in next is not bumps. It's something, well, maybe nice and rough 5 o'clock shadow. I don't know. But it's not bumps. It's something as mature and as amazingly like grounding as she actually is. And that's the next adventure or wild thing in her life. It's kind of like the pinnacle of her life. She's prepared for whatever life throws at her, but because she's so solid, life is like, yeah, there isn't like a bunch of bumps or other lessons. It's actually like you're ready for the real building now. Your foundation's already set. You already went through engineering school. You already know how to build your empire. So there you go. There's your person to build it with. That's really exciting. That's really exciting. What a great message to end the night with. All right, you guys. I love that. Luminous Marina, thank you again. You guys, lots of love. I'm sorry, I know I can never get to everybody, but we will, like I said, be doing this once a week, every week on both channels for about 30 minutes, all the way up to January. Okay, so throughout our whole holiday season. So I will see you guys again, and hopefully everyone will get chances. I will do this at different times each time, so it's never the same, so that it won't always be so late at night like this. I'll intentionally try to make sure that it's mixed up so everybody gets more fair chances. Okay. Lots of love, you guys. Really appreciate all of you. All right. Sweet dreams. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.